Well, with more, we're now joined by the President of the Treasury Board, Anita Anand. Minister, thank you for joining us this evening.
Thanks for having me.
So I want to begin here with the GST relief on rental builds, because I'm wondering about the dollar figure. Do you have an estimate of how much it's actually going to cost the government to make this happen?
Well, certainly our focus right now is ensuring that this bill, C-56, on the affordability of housing and groceries, makes its way through the House of Commons. And we are asking all parties to vote in favor of this bill because there is a housing crisis in this country and we are seeking to address it. At this time, we know that thousands and thousands of units need to be built, and the purpose of eliminating the GST at this stage is to ensure that we're unlocking that supply and ensuring that as many purpose-built rentals are built as soon as possible. And I know that my colleague, Minister Fraser, is watching this very carefully and will be making sure that the supply is there. And as supply increases, we know that the prices are going to come down, and we'll revisit this policy as necessary once that occurs.
Okay, well, I do want to get back to that in a moment. So do you mean to say then that at this point, the real priority is to get the money rolling and you're going to figure out what the dollar figure is down the road?
Well, exactly. Our priority is, just like we did in the pandemic, is to make sure that the law is in place to unlock the funds so that the thousands and thousands of builds that were waiting to occur for some type of measure can actually start being built. And that's what is the priority. But by all means, this is going to be something that I, as Treasury Board President, will be watching carefully. My role is to make sure that there is the implementation of the law where taxpayers are getting value for money. And that's exactly what I will do as President of the Treasury Board.
Does that concern you in any way, though? Because, of course, before the caucus where this was announced last week in London, there was the discussion about the $15 billion that you have asked your colleagues to look for in terms of their own ministries. If you're looking to save money, does it worry you then that you're rolling out this program without knowing exactly what it's going to cost?
Actually, it's a good question. I want to say that the purpose of the spending review is to refocus spending on priorities like affordable housing, like the green economy, like reconciliation. So we're doing what every household in this country is doing right now, which is to ensure that our spending is directed where it is needed most. And that's the purpose of the spending review that we're undertaking. So this project of law that we've introduced today is part and parcel of focusing on the priorities that matter most to Canadians, one of which is affordable housing.
Mm-hmm. You know, as a contrast, because you are rolling this out, the Conservatives, Pierre Poilievre, has come up with his own proposals, which of course is just his own proposals at this point. But he does talk about attaching affordability measures with any kind of government program. This GST relief does not come with an affordability clause for builders. How does that actually help Canadians who are struggling to find affordable housing?
This law is specifically driven to create more supply in apartment and other rentals. So the amount of supply is going to increase for the affordable homes, affordable apartments, affordable builds, and we are going to continually watch that supply chain as it unfolds. But what we have heard from people like Jennifer Kismat, Mike Moffat, is that supply is crucial. And this is a game changer, actually, eliminating the GST on purpose-built rentals. We are hearing from stakeholders across the country that the supply is going to increase now as a result of this legal change, and we're doing what exactly we need to do, which is to ensure that the supply of housing is going to be there.
Mm-hmm. So basic laws of supply and demand being applied here. Listen, I also, before our time is done here, I do want to ask about President Zelensky, of course, making a visit and an address to Parliament tomorrow. He is right now asking for more aid, not only of Canada, but other allies as well. Is more money coming? Can this country continue to help Ukraine in its fight against Russia?
Well, let's be clear that the aid that Canada has put forward has been comprehensive. We have put on the table $1.5 billion of military aid thus far. We are also transporting aid from Prestwick, Scotland on behalf of our allies, so over 10,000 pounds of military aid and equipment on behalf of our allies. And of course, we're partnering with other countries in terms of ensuring that aid gets to Ukraine. We will stand with Ukraine in the short and the long term, and we will continue to examine whatever aid we can put on the table. We've already put on the table not only military aid, of course, economic aid, financial aid, humanitarian aid, and it is really a priority not just for our government, but from Canadians at large. We have one of the largest diasporas of Ukrainians in Canada of anywhere in the world, and we'll continue to ensure that we're fighting for what is right, and that is Putin cannot be allowed to redraw geographical boundaries at will, and that's the principle that we are standing up for each and every day. Really looking forward to welcoming President Zelensky here in Canada.
Anita Anand, President of the Treasury Board, thank you so much for the time.
Thank you so much. Take care.